hate seeing that.
You're live.
Move to open the meeting at 7:05, April 12th, 2023.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Brett's not in?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, so this is the April 12th, 2023 meeting of the Groveland Conservation Commission. And we have our agenda this evening, and we have 2 public hearings, which we will address first, and then some more business after that. So I'll make a motion to open the hearing portion of the meeting at 7:05 PM.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So Mike, if I recuse myself, is it going to be a problem?
Why?
106.
It doesn't matter, you're here, that doesn't affect our,
Okay. Good enough. Recusing myself.
all right, so the first hearing tonight is for 8 Katy Lane, which is 106 King Street, Lot 6, and it's an RDA for septic system and associated grading for a new single-family home.
So 8 Katy Lane is part of the 106 King Street subdivision development, the one that we passed a full order of conditions, notice of intent for the road portion of it. So they are now coming back with filings for the individual lots as they're being built. So yep, as Mike said, it's a septic system with associated grading for a new home. There are 2. I know I personally get the numbers confused, but you have plans in front of you. You have full set size plans in front of you. Stephanie, the large ones right in front are the same thing. If you want to look at the big ones, you do have smaller size plans in front of you as well. So first is lot 6. So the septic system is there's the septic system in the back that has grading that goes right up to, grading and a retention wall that goes right up to the 100-foot buffer. So there's that portion of it, but then there is also in the front portion of the home, or the proposed home, there is the dry well as well as a portion of the driveway that is within the 100-foot buffer zone, but outside of the 75-foot no-build zone. And at this point, I will let Bill Holt take it away.
Okay, my name's William Holt. I'm here representing the applicant, King Meadow LLC. The applicant is sitting in the back, so if you have any questions, you can help answer them. So as mentioned, Lot 6 is at the end of Katy Lane, on the left-hand side of the cul-de-sac. There are two wetlands, one in the back. That's the A series. It was delineated by by Damon Burritt, who's a PWS, and that was reviewed back when we did the original RDAs for the preliminary and definitive subdivision of the 9-lot development. And it was also reviewed by DEP under an appeal of the RDA, and it reviewed by Mark Jacobs, consultant for the commission. And the wetland boundary was affirmed by Mark Jacobs and by DEP. So we're dealing with a wetland line that has been established previously. The 100-foot buffer zone is shown, the 75-foot no disturb, and the 75-foot no build, and the 25-foot no disturb. We are not doing any work within the 25-foot no disturb. No work in the back section of the lot in the 75-foot no disturb, and only 425 square feet of work in the buffer zone along the very far reaches of the 100-foot buffer, where we have a proposed wall for grading purposes. That's about 3 foot high and 90 foot long, And that will help eliminate some of the grading that would carry down the hill as a result of the required slope of the ground away from the 15 feet from the septic system. So Title V requires a slope requirement to maintain breakout and to approval of the septic system. And we could have not put the wall in, but the grading would have gone down probably another 15 to 18 feet down the slope and involved more disturbance of the buffer zone. So we try to limit that with the wall in the back. In the front, there is approximately 1,750 square feet of disturbance in the 100-foot buffer zone, as far as about 76 feet from the wetlands for the roof runoff. There's some grades shown on the plan that are associated with the permit that was granted for the subdivision. The grading beyond the 75-foot is all worked for the subdivision detention ponds and drainage required for the stormwater management compliance. And again, the subdivision is 100% compliant, has a stormwater management permit, notice intent order conditions that are still current, and the hay bales for that are in place. All that work for the detention pond and drainage and roadway have been completed. The roadway's to binder. All the utilities are in. So the grading that's associated with the house is right in front of it, which goes into the 100-foot buffer zone, and it's about 1,750 square feet of area associated with that. And a small portion of the driveway, its driveway's about 85 feet away from the wetlands at the closest point. Majority of the driveway is outside the buffer. And there's 2 feet of the house, which is, so the house is 98 feet as opposed to 100 feet from the wetlands. But it's greater than the 75-foot no build by a significant amount. So it's a very limited amount of work. It's a total of 2,150 square feet between the front and the back. It's being proposed for the actual house construction and utilities, the water and the connection in the driveway. So if you have any questions, I can answer those, hopefully.
Where is the septic system?
It's
Is
right-
that directly behind the
Yep,
house there?
directly behind the house. It's this box.
Oh,
right here.
okay.
And then there's a limit to an over dig, which is required by Title V.
Yeah.
Then it slopes down, and the wall is right along here,
Okay.
showing about a 90-foot wall. Stone, built out of stone boulders. It's about 3 feet high at its max, and it tapers down on both ends to zero, back to original grade.
I believe we walked that behind the wall, right, when we came.
You were probably behind, there's an old wall there now, a current wall. It's a stone wall, part of the original property. That actually is shown on the plans. That wall is this, that wall is this
I
wall.
remember we had to climb up over.
Yeah, to get
back
down,
onto
yep.
the- Yeah, so, okay.
So that wall will be partially removed for the septic system, and then a new wall built down a little bit beyond that. But that wall is significantly higher than the 100-foot buffer in that area. We also show the reserve area. The reserve area doesn't have to be built at this time. It doesn't have to be built until it's needed, which hopefully will be well after I have left this world. But yeah, it's on there, and that's 102 feet to the wetlands, to the closest point. And that will be outside the buffer zone if it ever needs to be built in the future. They would probably have to come back for approval on that because it'll be in the buffer zone for grading as well. The roof runoff is part of the requirement that was imposed by the planning board to meet the stormwater management regulations. We're infiltrating all the roof runoff from all of the lots, whether they're in the buffer zone or not. As you will see on lot 6, we show the same. I mean, not 7, sorry, next lot. But there are 4 lots that don't have any wetlands issues, and they will also have dry wells associated with the roof runoff. And they'll be sized according to the proposed house that actually gets built. We kind of oversized them in the subdivision so that they wouldn't be a question of whether they'd work. These could have been smaller a little bit, but we left them the same size to really make sure that they perform as intended.
So how does that work? Like, I guess I don't understand what a dry well, like, you have,
Dry well is simply a chamber. These
Underground.
these happen to be plastic chambers. They're 3 by 7.5 foot long, 3 foot by 7.5, which is hollow, and they're a foot tall. And of course, there's storage inside those chambers. And they also have holes in the slots on the side, and you put stone around the base of those, about 1 foot around all, there's 6 of them.
so it's a structure that's inside the 75-foot?
No, it's outside the 75,
Outside.
Okay,
76 feet, and
okay,
it's actually not considered a structure. It's in the ground, and it's not considered a
It's a tank.
structure from a,
I mean, it's essentially a
Building
tank
depend- yeah.
that allows water to collect and then run through
it's
it.
it's an open
a
tank. though, so-
visible tank?
No,
Is that-
it's
No,
underground.
you won't see it, it's underground.
Oh, okay,
You'll see there's an inspection board, a 4-inch pipe that comes up to the surface and is capped,
okay,
so they can open it up and see if it's working. If it
Okay.
clogs up, they have to remove them and replace them.
okay, thanks.
But it's mostly just for the roof runoff, which is considered clean water. Roof runoff is not contaminated, so they were allowed to infiltrate that right into the ground. There's a 2-foot separation between the bottom of those basins and the groundwater.
Okay,
Other
I see,
minimum.
I see now what I'm looking at. Okay, thank you.
There's actually a detail on the second sheet that shows you what they look like. It's, if I can get the page here. It's up in the left-hand corner.
Here.
This is the detail. So you got the downspouts,
Okay,
and this is the ground surface, and there's the chamber, and there's stone around it.
okay, all right, thank you.
They should stay dry for most of the time, except when it's raining out. And they're designed to actually capture the first 1 inch of rainfall that falls on the roof. These are actually built so that they'll catch a little more than that. The first inch is considered the first flush, which may have anything that's on the roof that may come off, will go down into the first inch and
Okay.
get captured there.
And you're proposing straw bales for erosion controls?
I think I actually show silt sock, or straw wattle, which is our,
It says under erosion controls, hay bales and silt fences. On the second page.
I see that, yeah. The detail does shows the silt sock, but, I mean, that's the hay bales, but we do have it labeled as the 12-inch diameter silt sock, which is, I think is acceptable as a alternative to hay bales.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is where it says erosion control notes, it says hay bales and silt fence.
Oh, okay, so you're saying.
So which is it?
Well, we're proposing the silt sock is actually what we're proposing to use, the silt sock or the silt straw wattle, 12-inch.
What does it say in the application?
The right page.
In the application, it says or. on page 3.
In the application, actually, on page 3, it says, you're talking about the hay bales? It
Yeah.
says silt fencing and staked hay bales or silt socks. Places indicated on the site plans.
Silt fencing and staked
For the first
hay
sentence.
bales, or, yes. But, like I say, the plan says one thing, and this says something else.
On the plan view, it does say silt socks. On the detail, it
It says hay
shows.
bales and silt fence, right?
On the
Yeah.
detail sheet, it shows the hay bales. I can change that detail. It's fine if you'd like to make that a
Well,
requirement.
at least you should say hay bales and silt fences or silt sock to match what you've got in the plan.
Correct, yep.
Are we supposed to use hay or straw bales?
No, it's supposed to be straw also.
Yeah, the straw wattles is the other thing they use. It's a 12-inch round diameter tube, and they fill it with straw, and that is staked down, similar to the hay bales or straw bales.
So if you can correct all those instances, please.
I can get that to Annie first thing tomorrow.
Yeah, and we, obviously only one copy at that point then.
I can email her to her as well. Email, all right?
Yep,
Yeah.
totally fine. And one paper copy too, just one for the file.
So, yeah, shouldn't say hay bales, should say straw bales or silt sock.
Oh, yeah, it says hay bale everywhere.
Yeah, right. Okay, so on here, on this plan, I see that the only thing I can see are 2 markers. Is that correct? One is at the top right side, and the other one is down the bottom here.
I got
Here
one.
and here.
It should be the same as was on the original, it should be the same as on the original order of conditions for the subdivision. There's one here, I have to take a look exactly. On this lot, there may only be 3.
Did we mark them out on the original order of conditions for the,
You said we were gonna do it on site once
Oh.
we're ready.
yeah, so they weren't, you're not getting this from the orders of condition then, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so Bill, that's not from the order of conditions.
This is from the original subdivision plan. There's actually one there, and one there. I see 3.
Yeah, there's 3, but for this particular lot.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering where these came from, because,
Thought it was to be determined once we were at that point, right?
yeah, but I mean, he's already got 2 on here.
Well, I think he was, just wanted to show that we're gonna do them.
No, he said that came from the order of condition.
It came from the original definitive subdivision plan that we did. Showed all these bounds on it. If you would,
I know, but,
if you wanted to alter them, that's fine. I mean.
yeah, no, I understand. I was just wondering where you came up with these. So, commissioners, what do we want for markers?
So we can,
It's about 140 foot wide, the lot. I would think at each lot line, and then one in the middle, that'd be about 70 feet between them. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
unless there's some bends you want identified.
So, commissioners, do we want them 3 on the 75-foot? Or do we want it on the 100-foot?
Well, where's the wall? I mean, I think I'd prefer to have it at the 100-foot.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because it's always kind of, you know, when the marker says anything beyond this point, you're supposed to file, but that's not really true. It's anything beyond 100-foot you're supposed to file. So putting it on the 75-foot doesn't really make sense unless there's no other option.
Okay.
In this case, I think there is another option, it's just put them on the 100-foot.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a retaining wall
I saw
here,
that,
so
yeah.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
So if we put one on each, one in the middle on the 100-foot, and then one on either side, one on either,
I think possibly on this
line.
particular lot,
Hmm.
the reason why it wasn't up here is because there's some drainage that was already approved to go down to this area. So that first one was sort of at the 75, or actually a little bit below it, actually, with the drainage. This is drainage for the subdivision.
Yep.
So the first one I see is right there. It's not marked, but it's a symbol, the symbol that we use for the other ones. So the first one would be there, and then it would be, if you wanted to bring it up to the 100, we could do that, and then there. I think that first one has to kind of be here, though, only because of the fact that this swale has to be constructed still. And they
okay.
get it down to here so far, but they haven't built it all the way down. But that was part of the original order conditions for the subdivision. So I think that particular one on the abutting property to the Fiore would have to be where we show it on the plan here. And I can label it as well. I'll edit the plan and get it back to Annie for tomorrow for the, to indicate that as being one of the
Okay,
markers.
so you got those three, right? Two on the 100-foot,
Yep.
and then one on the border of the property at the 75 there, where you've got the marker already.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You
you've
don't
got,
think that's confusing if we,
you know, it is,
I
but,
mean, just because there's a drain,
Oh, we can put it up there. That's fine. There's going to be work below it, but
yeah,
at least initially, and then it will be.
but it's work that's been.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. If that's
So
what
you-
you prefer, that's certainly a lot, agreeable.
so, let's see, that's the 100. So you're saying to stick with the 100-foot
Yeah,
up
'cause
there?
otherwise, don't you think it's confusing?
Yes.
I mean, it certainly makes people aware
Yeah.
at the 100-foot, so,
Okay.
So Bill, you're going to add these to the plans you're going to give me?
yeah. I'll make sure that they,
And what about up the top?
where they're talking.
Mike, do you mean where the retention pond is?
Yeah, well, that 100-foot buffer extends right near the house
Yep.
and swings around, so,
There's a drainage easement there
Right.
as well, which if my memory serves me well, the drainage easement states that nothing can be built or done there. So
At the
they,
100-foot?
well, so the drainage easement, is it on there, Bill?
Yes. yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to see, but because this is the drainage easement right here. Goes from here, all along here, over to here, and then down. Oops, all the way over to here and then down. So this work is going to be done, and as well as all that. Again, I think we put them here because this is going to be done, and it has to be maintained, so they have to be able to enter the area where the pond is. So
Yes.
we put the 25-foot no disturbs along the no disturb zones along the 25-foot actual no disturb buffer in this particular case, because
is this still Lot 6 up here?
it
How
is,
much-
it is
how much?
up until, it's about here.
Oh,
Up right here,
okay.
here's the lot corner, it goes like that.
Yeah.
So if we put something there, one in the middle, so that
Yeah, I think you'd want to put them
Stand.
up along this wall,
okay,
because that's 25 feet away.
right, right.
I still think that's confusing.
Well, but it is, but it's like, what else can we do?
Does it actually say 100 feet on them, or does it just say buffer zone?
It says,
r-
no, it just says beyond this point.
Right. And your actual buffer, no disturbed buffer zone is 25, and that's what we're along that 25-foot with that wall.
Right, it's just
So I
to
think-
note that you need to file for a permit if you go
Yeah.
beyond this point.
Yeah.
But,
The odds that anyone's going to be doing anything on that lot up there is slim.
As far as the front of the house where that drainage easement is, I just pulled up the recorded easement for it, and it says no permanent structure shall be placed and no trees shall be planted within the drainage structure or easement. So I don't know if we can put the marker there, because that would be a permanent structure within the easement, if that's where you were looking on the plans. Was that within? Nope, Fred joined. Sorry, 1 second.
so what are you suggesting there then, Stephanie?
I don't know what the solution is.
Is there any marker that goes on because of the easement?
No, but the easement is the town's easement. We own that
Oh.
easement, so we can maintain the drainage structure there.
Let's see.
I mean, there's work proposed and already has taken place along this, well, I don't think it's labeled because it wasn't really part of this particular application, but this is the stone, this is the retaining wall that was built along the roadway and along the 25-foot no disturb.
Yeah,
So if you put, the mark is right on the wall, basically it's saying don't disturb anything beyond the wall, which is the limit of the disturbance that's already occurred. And it protects the 25-foot no disturb zone that you basically have in your regulations. So I think markers along that would make sense there, and then up to the 100 feet along here would make sense, because that would prevent anyone from coming below those markers in the backyard.
I mean, I think this is just gonna be so confusing with the corner of the house right on the 100-foot buffer. So how is the homeowner to know
So-
that they can't do anything beyond
But
that mark
it-
when their house is on it?
well,
They,
but,
they can with this permit, because the permit's allowing them to do the work in that 175 foot. So it's gonna be done, and it's gonna be mowed. It's
Yeah,
gonna be lawn there when they're done.
it's
They're gonna
not,
mow it.
it's not meant to prevent lawn care or anything else.
They're not gonna be
No,
able
I
to
understand
put,
that, it's just like, if your house is already in the buffer, then what's,
The main thing is
To protect the natural vegetation.
shed here.
Right.
in which they
well, but they could if their house
No,
is right
they're,
there.
No.
they can't, because there's the drainage easement here that they can't even plant a tree here if they
Mhm.
want to. They can't build anything here, they can't plant a tree here because of the drainage easement.
Where's the drainage easement border?
Right.
here.
Along here, then it goes over to here and then back. This whole pond is in that drainage easement.
Yep.
There's a gate here they can get into to maintain it.
They can't
And this
get-
is a wall, they can't go over here
They
because,
can't go over there.
right, so if we put the monuments right up on the wall, it'll tell them they can't go beyond the wall. And it'll leave this will grow back as natural vegetation. This is already gonna be natural, and this will grow back as natural vegetation below the wall. And then it won't be disturbed anymore.
So this is a. This shows a more clear view of my computer will cooperate. So this is the drainage easement. It's substantial. And, yeah, so this is the easement.
No, that's not, it's over
Right
here.
here. It goes on, yeah. But I think it's probably self-evident if you're looking at it.
We see that, but people do stuff.
But it,
It's gonna be fenced in. This is gonna be a fence too, right here.
Okay.
The fence is gonna protect
They gotta protect.
all around the pond, so they won't be able to do anything beyond the fence. Literally, this area is not, they won't be allowed to do anything in that area at all. It can't be, it'll be grass, it'll be a grass basin. And over here, it'll become back as natural vegetation. This is the sort of limit of the work that we did
Yeah.
for that.
I
So
think
if
that
you put
works.
those markers here, it makes sense to stop them from doing anything in the natural vegetated area beyond the wall, which is,
So you wanna have to just put one marker there?
I would put two.
Two?
I would put, yeah. Just, one marker doesn't
Yeah, we're
really tell
showing
you
two
which
now.
direction.
We could push them back to where the wall
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And what does it say? It says no disturb on it? On the marker? What does the marker say?
It
Our
says
marker?
you must file,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't say you do not disturb. It says, you know, if you go beyond this point.
It doesn't matter if you file or not for that point, right? Like, you can't.
If it's gonna be, jeez Louise, if it's gonna be maintained lawn
Yeah.
and their drainage easements there, they can't really do anything.
Okay.
It would be, if anything, the town filing to maintain the drainage easement. It wouldn't be the homeowner.
All right, so we're going to have a total of 5, Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill, you're gonna mark those on the plans? Okay, thank you.
I'll put them on the plan, and again, they can be during the actual installation of them, if you want one moved, a little one way or the other, I'm sure we can accommodate that.
Just for the pre-construction meeting to have them staked out.
Any other questions or comments?
No, I'm good.
No? Anything else, Steph? I know, it's less than ideal, but that's always tricky. Always tricky. There's like it's never clear cut. All right, so I'll make a motion that we close the hearing and issue a positive determination with,
Do you mean negative?
Negative.
no, because we're gonna have,
It should be a negative with conditions, otherwise we have to file notice of intent.
negative with conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. So change that then. We'll issue a negative determination with conditions for 8 Katy Lane / 106 King Street, Lot 6.
I'll second that.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, then we'll take a vote. We have to do roll call. Bill,
Aye.
Stephanie,
I guess.
okay, Mike, yes. Fred?
Aye.
Thank you, Fred. Fred, we're sorry we can't display the maps or anything tonight due to technical changes here, but we're trying to work on that.
That's all right. Annie sent me a bunch of stuff anyway that I was able to peruse.
Okay, so we just approved 5 monuments, moving them around a little bit.
Yeah, 106 King.
3 are on the 100-foot buffer, and 2 are at the top near the edge of the unimproved portion of the property at the very top. All right. Done with that. Next hearing is for Lot 7, Katy Lane, also known as 106 King Street. Oh,
Lot 7.
10 Katy Lane, Lot 7, 106 King Street.
Which one is that?
It's the it's the same thing.
Oh, it is?
Well, no, there's another one that looks exactly
So
like
to quickly
this.
run over this one, it's much less impact than the prior one. The work is only minor grading that kind of ever so slightly touches the 100-foot buffer zone. But I still asked the applicant to file, and they did. Please keep in mind that there is a lot line here, so some of the grading that you're seeing is not for this lot. And I'll let Bill take it from here.
Yeah, I can try to explain this a little bit better for you. So lot 7 is just to the right of lot 6, so you'll see part of lot 6 on here, and you also see part of lot 8.
Yep.
The lot line is lot 7 and 8 is right here, and it goes over to here, and it goes off the property, and then this lot line is between 6 and 7 is that one.
Yeah.
So this grading up here, that kind of goes into lot 6, is going to be for lot 8. And we're going to file for lot 8, as you know, a notice of intent, and we just discussed lot 6. So some of the grading is like coincident. It's going to be, both lots going to probably be merged together with the grading there. So, and that's outside the buffer zone, all this work anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really apply. The only work we're doing in this lot is at the very back, the grading down here at the bottom. We're showing a 25-foot long wall that's about 2 feet high. And that's, again, to keep the grading from going beyond that wall and not having to go down the hill a little bit further. In this case, it would be probably about 6 to 8 feet into the buffer zone further. So the total work on this particular lot is just in that back area is about 450 square feet, right along the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone. So there's a couple feet into the buffer zone for about 30 or 40 feet either way. And it's not significant, but we did obviously have to grade a little bit beyond into the buffer zone, so we have to file an RDA to show you that what we're doing, that we are working in the buffer. Up front, the house, the septic, the infiltrated units, the driveway, that's all outside the buffer zone completely. The limit of the work will be the erosion controls, which is right along the 100-foot buffer. And again, I show some of those conservation monuments at the 75-foot, but we can bring them up to the 100 at the property lines, and then maybe 1 or 2 in the middle if you'd like, depending on, it's a pretty bit longer, a little bit
Yeah.
longer length, so
Yeah, so
you can space them out equally.
we've got, actually, you've already got one on the,
You're right, that's in lot
so
6. yeah.
that's there. And then we get one here, and maybe one over here, and then one here, right?
Yep.
Space them out, whatever makes sense.
Yeah, I'll space them equally
Yeah.
along that line.
So
So there'll be
four,
four altogether. One's
but
coincidental
actually
with-
three,
yeah.
three.
Yeah. Yeah, because the 2 on the line are going to be, one's going to be with lot 6.
Right.
That's really the limit of the work. There's no other work in the buffer zone. And see, all the septic, everything else is outside the 100.
Mike, on
Yeah.
the monuments, where,
So there's one here from
Right,
the,
that one.
and then we're gonna space them out, so roughly the same distance.
okay, but we're moving them up.
Up
Yeah,
to the
on the
100.
100-foot
Okay.
buffer.
Yep, thank you.
These are straightforward.
The grading you see on lot 8 is actually the grading for the septic. We're preparing that notice of intent, and then lot 9 has an RDA, and lot 5 has an RDA as well that we're getting ready to file. They're already designed, just got to get the paperwork together for you.
Any other questions on this one?
No.
This one's,
I mean, you would, obviously, all the,
oh yeah, all the
Control
corrections,
review.
same
Same
corrections
yeah.
on this.
We're doing them on this as well. And they'll be good for the next one.
That's right. Make sure 8's ready with all those changes.
Any questions, Fred?
Nope, none.
All right, so I'll make a motion to close the hearing on this property and issue a negative determination with conditions for 10 Katy Lane. Lot 7, 106 King Street.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, then we'll take a vote. Bill?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Mike? Yes. Fred?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion to close the hearing portion of the meeting at 7:44 PM.
Second.
Fred second.
Fred seconded,
Wow.
he snuck in there.
Bill,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Fred. Okay, unanimous. Make a note that Mr. Grimm rejoined the panel here. Okay, let's see, what have we got now?
Have a nice night.
All right, next, we have to discuss some enforcement orders. So,
Hopefully this one too.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
make a recommendation that we skip to item 172 King Street, just because those
okay,
residents are here and the folks for One Manor Drive are not, and I
Yes.
don't want to, and then
Yes.
with Terry as well, I think it,
no, that's
sense.
fine, that's fine.
Getting your steps in.
I am. Maybe I'll take a ride home from you.
And Terry doesn't have to recuse himself for this.
Not for
No,
this.
I'm quite a ways away.
still on King Street though.
Still King Street, but that's a long street.
It sure is. Couple
All right,
miles.
let's see, so can you give us a very brief summary?
Yes, I can. So in your packet, you have the enforcement order packet that I had sent to Mike DeSessa. And as well, you have the my map of the property. So basically, there was work performed on the side of the house that was within jurisdiction. They, in resurfacing the driveway, added in kind of like a little pull-off spot for a single car along the side of the house that was, as you can see, about 30 to 37 to 40 feet from the resource area. It was not impervious pavement, it was packed stone. They also cleared a lot of invasives and brush from the area as well, and as well as trash. From what I understand, the site had been pretty abandoned, and what was pulled out, tires and
We were taking out like appliances, there was like a stove in there.
Next to the house you live in?
The house that we bought on at 172.
Okay, so you've just recently purchased it.
In November.
You didn't want to leave them there?
Children's gonna have to So to the left of the house, it was already like a raised embankment from probably the original build. And when we top dressed the driveway with the crushed stone, we extended the driveway about an extra 12 feet. About an extra 12 feet to the left of the house, which is getting closer to the conservation land. But we had no idea of that conservation land. When we bought the house, we weren't informed that we knew about that. And we also did a roof, siding, kitchen, bathrooms. We pulled permits for everything. We did everything correctly. And no one along those lines from November to now happened to say anything about the conservation land.
Permits too that were passed, so nobody.
So long story short, we had no idea that we needed to get permission to extend the driveway the extra 12 feet, roughly 12 feet.
But we did do the straw wattles and we did stake them in and we sent her the photos that we are trying to be compliant as we can with you guys, so.
And in between where we extended it and where the straw wattle is, We plan to seed it too, which also helps with the erosion control. And it was pretty much all invasive vines that were growing. Then that's what we cleared out. It was all growing into the house. So we had to clear that out to be able to work on that side of the house. It was like Andy said, it was pretty abandoned. So we pulled 4 dumpsters out of the house, and 1 whole dumpster was from outside.
Like, they had a lot of stuff in the backyard that should not have been in your conservation land. Boats, cars, hidden things, so.
There was a
Not
lot, to
saying
say
we're,
the
like,
least.
Star people, like, trying to make it good, but it was bad. It was an awful situation. The whole house was awful,
And
but it is not anymore.
And all the neighbors tell us every day that how thankful they are of us for fixing up the property and cleaning everything up.
Annie, did you see anything in particular when you went over?
Excuse me. The site is pretty stabilized for not having anything. The site is pretty stabilized for not having anything seeded yet or grown in yet. The driveway is compacted fully. I mean,
And it's pervious, so.
and it's pervious again, which I did mention was a good sign in the right direction. I do remember this house. I believe it was 177 King Street across the way. They had a septic system with us that was completed around the beginning of the summer last year, I believe. And I do remember this house, and it was in rough shape. So I do believe that this is probably an improved state to what it was. Should it have been filed for? Yes.
Usually Sam
Yeah,
will
what-
flag properties if there's jurisdictional issues.
What
Yes.
happened with this?
I mean, the whole idea
So-
of continuous improvement is what can we do to reduce the chances of this happening
Of
more
course.
in the future?
And when
So
we.
where did it get dropped?
So we will discuss more with the second enforcement order that we'll be looking at. Sam and I have had a conversation. He apologizes for things not getting flagged.
'Cause
Things
he's usually pretty good at
happen.
that, right?
Absolutely. So things happen. I don't know if you've ever used Permit Link, but it is not,
Perfect.
well, not perfect in from the 90s. It's not the greatest system. He recently had it updated. We've worked recently together on ensuring that, so the way the system works is if you file for a certain thing, it will get sent to, the Board of Health, it'll get sent to the Conservation Commission, the town planner, different accounts. So Sam's since updated those, and so I now will get basically anything exterior. So even if you're just replacing your roof and you are nowhere near the wetlands, it'll just automatically get sent to me for approval or denial so that things will not slip through the cracks like they have. Again, I don't know if I've said this to the commission. I know I've said it to applicants before when they were kind of blindsided by the fact that Sam picked up on the fact that there was conservation area close and he sends them to me. It is not within Sam's requirements to send me anything at
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
It's a courtesy. So while obviously we would like it not to happen, I don't think it's not something Sam looks for all the time. I mean, it's not his job to identify conservation land and make sure that it gets sent to me. So while we again, like you said, continuously making it better. And so we have done that, but I don't want to, bash Sam
Not at all.
for that.
Thank you very much.
So.
No,
just
like I
want-
said, he's usually really, really good at this.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just, things happen.
And how far, I'm looking at, what's this measurement, 100.17 feet, what's that?
So is this?
I just
is
wanted to
this
show
the
where the
house?
100-foot buffer zone was.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is the driveway
So
right
anything
here.
So the-
closer than that is.
Is within the buffer zone.
it-
So the
which-
house
Which would
is-
be the
Just this?
part of the
And then you
driveway?
made a little bump out
So
over
it
here?
went to the left of the house a
So
bit,
the
yes.
driveway.
Oh, you're
is-
talking about like
Correct.
exterior work and roofing and stuff for the house?
Yeah,
No,
so,
I'm just saying the whole house is within.
yeah, the whole house is
Right.
within the 100-foot buffer zone. The driveway is about the 37 feet. So that's the closest amount
Okay.
of work that was happening that wasn't pulling invasives or hardscaping, I guess, is what I want to say. I'm,
This was taken today, so it's just this area right there.
Okay.
That's the gist of it,
Okay,
so it's just this small
Yeah, so,
area.
thank you.
So Terry remembers this, that, you remember, Terry, when we used to be here for 3 hours on a Monday night, and people would come in from the building inspector, everything.
Yes.
They had to get sign off by us on everything, whether it was, so
Right,
that's.
well, we'd say, no, you don't have to worry about us. Yeah.
Well, we would just sign off on it, you know what I mean?
Well, sometimes we wouldn't.
No, I'm saying if it didn't have any
Oh,
impact.
if
So
it wasn't our
that's-
jurisdiction, we
That would
would.
be how we could prevent this really from happening, and I don't think we want to go back to that.
well, no, that's what we're doing now, but it's
Well, no,
just
it
going
sounds like-
through me.
It's a much, we have much better tools now.
Yeah, it's just,
And
yeah.
you can just sit down and have a block of time and go out of jurisdiction, out of jurisdiction,
Yeah.
in jurisdiction.
So that's what's happening again, basically, except on the computer now, and you have an agent who can do it. I mean, I like some, what was it?
well, so this is good discussion, right?
Yes.
But it's internal in my.
Yes, you make
in
a good
my-
point, Bill,
so
thank you.
We have two people here that are. Yeah, no,
Sorry.
So,
Tangent, thank you.
Had been told by a realtor, or there was a letter sent out when a new homeowner would buy something around your conservation
Right.
area, because then we would have been more mindful. But usually, you know, you have your property lines and you stay within your property lines, and that's it. We didn't know that that was, you know, something
And you can
else.
see that we pulled permits for like everything, all the other work and stuff too, so it's not like we were like trying to avoid this. We had
Agreed.
no idea.
so,
What year was your house built?
So this was 93,
Interesting.
but
93 and it was falling apart
the
already?
windows were falling.
I went to open a window and it fell right
There
out of
was
the
a
house.
hole in the kitchen all the way down to the basement.
Wow.
I mean, a child could have.
And you
fallen
worried
through.
about, hepatitis?
Well, we take
again,
our
good
DNA
discussion.
courtesy.
I would like to move this along for
Well,
these people and our people.
I mean, you can
But
still
I-
look
I've
up the
got a
listing and
couple
see
of
what the
questions.
house
Yeah,
condition
and
was
that's
in.
what,
It was really bad, to say the least.
no.
Yeah. So ignorance of the law is not excuse for not obeying the law.
Right.
But there are certain situations where we have a little better, I wouldn't say compassion, but a little bit more understanding of
Right.
the position. I mean, if somebody deliberately violates stuff,
Right.
we really don't like that.
No, of course.
So, they're,
And if we did know, we would have.
yeah, and I don't know what we're gonna do to
Well,
retrofit this, so we're
so,
gonna
well-
ask for an order of
So
conditions.
Mike has,
Mike
you might
had a
ask
couple
your
of
questions,
questions.
and then I would like to say something.
So-
There is a straw wattle there at the
Yes.
moment.
So, the reason why I just wanted to make clear that this wasn't your fault,
Right.
because you could be fined, otherwise we could fine you for what you did.
Right.
But we
Understood.
don't have any intention, at least I don't have any intention of asking for you to be fined, because I don't think it was your fault. So, so when Annie issued the enforcement order to stop all work, you stopped all work, right?
Correct. And then
So how much more work needs to be done?
it's already done.
It's all complete.
It's completed.
You don't have any
We have
intention?
to, we have to seed it still,
Okay,
but that's,
all right,
that's it.
all right. So you wouldn't, if you had the permit, you wouldn't be filing for a certificate of compliance yet, because you're not done.
Correct.
Okay, so I think what we asked is that, Annie, is this correct? We asked that they file for a notice of intent after the fact, right?
I believe so.
Sorry, to file.
Or was it an RDA?
So the DEP form does not give you a location to specify RDA or a notice of intent. It just gives you, it only gives you the option for a notice of intent. I mean, yes. Yes.
But we could have them just file an RDA.
We could have them file an RDA, absolutely. So the commission still, so I signed off on the enforcement orders as the agent because we did not have a meeting, and with enforcement orders, you want to do them right away, so that all work ceases. So we need to make a motion to kind of endorse the enforcement order at the meeting, but we can alter it now, if we so choose to.
Okay. But
So we can do an RDA
All right.
if the commission would like.
So would you recommend a full RDA or just Groveland RDA?
At this point, based off the work that's been completed and the fact that it is stabilized, they have the erosion control in place, and that seeding, the time to seed is soon, and that we should see full stabilization of the site within a month and a half, I'd say RDA, because they are almost fully complete. I mean, again, that's my opinion. I don't make these decisions,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It pretty much would have already been seeded by now too, but once we got the enforcement order, we obviously couldn't do any more work, so we were waiting for this meeting to move forward with the seeding.
Right.
Plus, it'd be nice to have some rain.
Right, that too.
Say that, it's nice weather, it's really nice.
All right,
too.
so commissioners, if we ask the applicant, rather than to file a notice of intent, to file a RDA, GRDA, that makes sense?
Yep.
That'll be a lot simpler for you.
That sounds great.
Cost less, too.
Also sounds great.
I guess I just have the one question on.
Yeah, sorry, go
No,
ahead,
that's
Bill.
okay. I saw the picture. It looks, pretty close to the house. Was that going to be, well, it's part driveway, I guess. I'm thinking you did good work, you pulled stuff out. We really appreciate that.
Yep.
I'm wondering is the seating the best, or is there some native bushes? I don't know if it drops off, or,
It's gradual. It slowly drops off. I think seeding personally would be fine, but obviously that's completely up to you guys.
it's a very narrow strip that they'll have to seed.
Okay.
But before they didn't clear, obviously, beyond their lot line, and so I would say based on where the driveway, the slope of it ends, and their lot line is probably only about 10 feet,
Okay.
15 feet max. I can send you our list of native trees, shrubs, ground cover, all of that
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
If that has to be done,
And it-
but
Yeah.
if we
I'm not
if
saying
we
it
could-
has to be done. If,
Well, we can discuss that when we do the.
Yeah,
RDA.
right.
Yeah.
Since they're gonna file, if you want to come up with a suggestion by then. Annie,
Yes.
do you know who owns this lot that surrounds them?
I can look if you give me a minute or two, depending on how quickly my computer wants to work. So if you want to talk about something else while I look it up, yes.
All right, so we'll make a motion to request the owners of 172 King Street to file a GRDA, RDA post work.
Second.
Any questions about the motion?
I have one,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. Can we just also vote to amend endorse and amend the enforcement order?
Oh, okay,
Just, it can be, I believe it can be part of the same motion, but just so that
yeah.
that gets buttoned
Yeah,
up.
so we'll add that to the motion. In addition,
second's good.
Second.
okay. We'll take a vote then. Terry,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Fred,
Aye.
unanimous.
And this is filed in person or online?
In person. You can send me a digital copy, though. So I'm actually heading out of town tomorrow morning, and I'll be back on Tuesday. But essentially, the RDA form you can find on our website and on the Mass DEP website. It's very straightforward. You're just going to essentially, let us know kind of what you did do, what you plan on doing. So seeding, and if plantings, if you so choose to do. And then the only kind of other procedural aspect of it is that you'll have to post in the newspaper that you're doing that. I'll tell you what you need to post in the newspaper. You just have to get it in there and then send me whatever you need to get in there. We can go over this, but just before you, you send one email and they got it covered. But I have on our website documentation and I can walk you through it, but just before you leave tonight, those are kind of what you're looking at for the next steps. But next week when I'm back from vacation, we can figure it out.
Okay.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yeah.
You find that?
And we need that by when?
So the next meeting is May 10th. It has to be in the newspaper about a week before. They need 3 days, so about 3 weeks to be safe before May 10th.
Okay.
Which
I do
is
need us
like
back here
now.
on May 10th for that meeting. Okay.
Yes, please. And let me just get that answer for the life estate of Cindy Gerard.
Okay.
It's 178R King Street, so the house is actually,
Beyond,
yeah, hold on.
and it's got all that wetlands around?
Yeah, so the house is actually right next to the power lines. It's a shared driveway situation that they enter on 178 King Street. Weirdly shaped lot,
Things we discover.
Yeah, it must be.
but yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
thank you
yeah,
guys.
we're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
guys.
much.
I'll be in touch.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we need to vote on the amendment separately?
No.
Or no?
No, it was a friendly amendment.
Ah,
I just altered what I was motioning. Let's do 268 Washington Street next.
Okay.
So, this is a minor modification to the previous filing, notes of intent, if you recall. And they want to remove a dead tree that's within the buffer zone, right?
Correct. So I went out last week. The stuff that they replanted is growing in well. Still early, but things are looking good so far. I'm gonna go out and see them in like a couple more weeks once things really start to grow in to just kind of check up on the restoration area. But when Mike and I think we were both at a site visit last fall, they had identified this tree as one that was dying and that they were looking to remove, and I said, let us know when you do and we'll talk about it. They do want to grind the stump, but the way they're planning on doing that is by putting a box around it so that all the chips and everything stay contained within the box, and then they'll rake it out. The heavy machinery equipment that they'll use to remove the tree, you can see on the my map that their driveway is, it's very close to where the tree is, so all of the equipment would be staged on their driveway. And they do still have all the erosion controls in place from the work that was performed for the restoration. But yeah, it's a dead tree. It's actually not ash borer, at least from my eye, but it is 100% dead.
If it's in the middle of the wetland, why do they have to remove it?
It's not in the middle of the wetland, it's in the middle of their grass lawn.
Okay.
near the wetland.
It's
Near
within,
the
it's
wetland.
within the buffer zone, but it's not in the wetland,
Right.
How far in the buffer zone is it?
40 feet.
This was the house where they had to move the bridge.
Exactly.
And then to the side,
Yeah.
they
And
had,
then
And,
they
I
did more
mean,
work after that?
and you can see,
Yeah, that one.
it's maybe 20 feet from their garage, so if it dies and falls, it's gonna
Okay.
crush their garage.
Maybe.
Maybe, it could fall into the nicely newly planted restoration area and head in that direction, but, I mean, it's very close to their yard, garage,
Okay.
and they know they need to do things the right way, so.
All right, is there a motion on this?
Motion to revise the, was it order condition?
Yep,
The order of condition to include the removal of the dead tree, and stump grind with a contained area to keep the chips in place for removal.
Second.
Somebody second that?
I did.
Bill just did.
Any questions, any further questions or discussion on that? All right, seeing none. Terry,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Fred, yes, unanimous.
Sneak it in there.
Don't jump the gun there, Fred.
I'm getting the timing down.
All right, so, what are we doing about Manor Drive?
Well, I'm recusing myself because apparently I'm in a butter.
That didn't take long. Oh,
So they
sorry.
didn't-
I hit mute.
Did they say they were gonna show up?
I'll start at the beginning.
Yes, that'd be great, thank you.
So, in your packet, you will see 2 enforcement order packages and 1 MyMap. So, the first one in your packet is addressed to Mr. Taylor. This involves the, deck at the back, at the rear of the property. I believe that building is 2 Manor Drive. This is the building that last summer burnt down, just for reference for everyone. So essentially, it was brought to the commission's attention that they were using a mini excavator to pull off a concrete foundation pad for the decks that were in the back there. I went out there to take a look and talk to them and saw that out of the front of the property, there is a sump pump from the basement that was draining onto the, like out front there, like where the cars are parked, and it was traveling about 434 feet down to the wetlands that are at the front of the property. So, because of the folks that I talked to on site, things were not necessarily clear as to kind of who was in charge, so that is why I issued 2 enforcement orders. One for the contractor who was doing the work in the back, and 1 who was doing the sump pump work that was causing the drainage issue. All work has ceased. Erosion controls have been placed at the back of the property. The sump pump was coming from the basement, so the groundwater level there is really high. So there was about 3 feet of water that was in the bottom of the basement. As I said, this was the property that burnt last year, so the groundwater has just risen in the last 9 months that it's been sitting vacant. Prior to that, my understanding is that the sump pump was kind of constantly going. Obviously, it was not discharging this amount of water. The reason it's discharging this amount of water is because it's been sitting there, so there's a significant amount. The manor has also been purchased within the last 1.5 years by a new property management company. So that has also kind of been tricky getting the history of things down because it's a new company. So about 1.5 hours before our meeting started, someone from the property management company called me asking what was going on because the contractors were not communicating very well with them. And so I kind of had to run through that and explain what was happening. They obviously want to make things right. They want to do the best they can possibly can. The deck in the back, it's very close to the resource area, obviously. That doesn't concern me necessarily as much as the drainage issue and the sump pump, because that water is going to have to go somewhere, obviously. So there is no drainage structures in the road, so there's no catch basins.
Where was the water going before?
See, that's what I'm still trying to figure.
I'm thinking there must have been, there had to be a drain somewhere that they were,
I don't know.
okay.
So in talking with the property management company, they were asking what should we do about the water. I am not an engineer, nor am I a wetland scientist. So I have told them that they need to figure this out. Obviously, we can't just, we need to figure it out. So they know that all work, again, has been ceased. They know, at least externally. If they're doing internal work, that's not our business. But they are going to, I gave them a couple, they're not suggestions, but just, companies that we see filing within town, so like Millennium Engineering, like the ones we usually see. So they're going to contact them and file a notice of intent for the May 10th meeting. So, and so moving forward, what should have happened was one enforcement order should have been issued to the property management company, but enforcement orders are a little quicker moving, so I just wanted to get the cease and desists out, and so I did. I think moving forward, it is my opinion that one notice of intent should be filed because it's one building on the property. One notice of intent, I think, will suffice moving forward, rather than two. I think that would get confusing and unnecessary.
So the one is to refurb or rehab this,
To get it back up in compliance and figure out the drainage issue and, I do believe they have to put in a new deck on the back of the property that's compliant with like fire escape standards or something like that. But, so I believe it's just a couple sono tubes that they're gonna have to do, but it's still impact, they still were doing things they weren't supposed to be. The drainage issue with the sump pump and the groundwater table, that's probably gonna require a dry well, like we talked about with, whatever lot on Katy Lane that was. 6 on Katy Lane, which obviously will be ground impact. So,
What about the rest of the buildings?
Yes.
so they're not doing work on them.
They're not
Eventually.
doing work on them, but should
Not
we
yet.
still
Not yet.
inquire as far as the drainage and sump pump?
well, they should be able to look next door and see what's going on with those sump pumps. There's
They
no
who?
way that.
Them?
I'm saying if this one
Well,
building.
we'll go take a look at it.
You want to do a site
When
visit?
they file, yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
doubt that the house, the building next door is, water-free.
Right.
So they must be
Exactly.
doing something with that sump pump.
Whether or not it's appropriate is my question.
Well, yeah, that's,
Yeah, so we'll look at it.
I guess I'm not familiar, I've never been to this area. This is
Oh,
all,
you should just walk down that
it's all
street.
Yeah.
surrounded by wetlands.
Yeah,
This
it
is
would
all
never,
wetland.
it would never have been built today.
no.
A wetland crossing along the front. And the whole thing's basically hugged by resources.
So is the new property management company going to pay all we said they didn't come here, they should have filed, are they gonna pay for all that? I think there's an issue here, right? Somebody needs to be held accountable for,
Well, They're gonna pay to file, right? But
that's,
should they be fined is the question.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
So the
leaning that way.
previous- The previous couple that was in here, I wouldn't have voted to fine them because it wasn't really their fault,
It
even
wasn't their
though.
fault, they permitted every single
Yes.
other thing that they did.
Yes.
And
They put pervious surface down.
Well,
I mean,
and
they-
they only did, let's not make them
All they did is-
saints, they didn't know.
Yes.
And so that, we were lucky that they put pervious
Yes, right.
down, right? They could have put, and I think they were mitigating, there was no markers. That whole house is within the 100-foot
Yeah, I don't know
buffer,
how that
which,
got
that's another, how did that happen? But, that being said, they were actually making improvements and doing some cleanup. They are going to file for something.
Yeah,
Same with this one, but this just seems a little more egregious.
yes, I agree.
And,
I
or maybe
mean,
even a lot more
This is
egregious.
a commercial company, it's
Right.
not some resident that made a boo-boo, you know? They're from out of state, oh, well, hey, they should know better. You buy a commercial property, you better know what you're
Mike, I'm
doing.
sorry, the out of state, the person I talked to on the phone, he
Yeah.
had just moved from out of state.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if the company's out of
Oh, all
state.
right, but
So
it
I
doesn't-
wouldn't,
What I'm
don't.
saying is it's a commercial company versus
Yes,
a
okay, I just,
resident.
A young resident with young children.
Yeah, right. So, if we were gonna fine them, they have two things they could be fined for, and we could fine them $300 a day for each problem that they caused, from the time they started the work till the time they got the stop order.
Is this something? Okay. I'm just wondering if the DEP should be involved also.
well, they will be involved when they file, because
Yeah.
they'll review the notice of
Okay,
intent.
good.
Yeah, that they will be, because it's a
Okay.
regular notice.
Okay, good, good.
But they don't care about fining, you know, it's up to us.
No, I know, I just, maybe a restoration project.
Not really,
Okay.
yeah, not really, because they didn't do any work in the
Yeah,
resource
it's all
area.
buffer work,
Yeah.
buffer zone work. They weren't in the wetlands.
Okay.
So there's no restoration.
Well,
Yeah.
What is the fee for filing?
A notice of intent is 300 and, no,
But isn't
sorry,
this
it is different because it's not a, single-family home. Sorry, 1 second. I don't know these ones off the top of my head.
Isn't it like 1,000 or something?
I don't want to say without looking because I'm not positive. 1 second.
and then if their goal is to rebuild it,
I mean, the structure itself, so they're, if anything, removing impervious surface, because instead of a concrete pad, it's just gonna be a few sono tubes, and with wood decking, the rain would just fall to the ground.
okay.
So,
And it's this one here, is that why there's a little 40-foot right there? Okay.
So it would be $200 a dwelling, and I know there are, I believe, per building, it's 4 units. So it would be $800,
Just for the filing?
just for the filing, for the
Okay.
notice of intent filing.
Okay. So when did they start this work?
I have the date it was first brought to my attention. I don't want to open my email on this or else it'll crash. But what do we say? 2.5, 3 weeks ago?
Mr. Butter, when did you first notice this work being done?
That's hard to say.
I do,
Certainly in the seasonal restriction timeframe.
Yeah, so it was before April 15th.
Oh,
All right,
it's
so,
12 today.
so, let's say.
again, I can look at a specific date and
Yeah,
I
but
just don't
let's
want to
say it
open it on
was
this.
20 days, right? 3 weeks. 20 days times $600 a day is.
Oh, no,
Well,
it's still $300 a day for the fine.
No, but
But the
there's
two
two
incidents.
things.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, so $600 a day times 20 would be
It's 12,000, right?
$12,000, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. So I'll make a motion that we fine the owners of the building at 1 Manor Drive up to $12,000 for up to 20 days for 2 violations at $300 each.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none then. Bill?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Fred?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
All right.
sorry, Mike, can you just repeat the motion? I was
Okay, so the
looking at the
motion
fines.
is to fine the owners of 1 Manor Drive up to $12,000 for up to 20 days of two violations at two violations of the wetland bylaw at $300 per day.
Thank you. And, Bill, you had second?
did.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Okay. So I think that's all we need to do. So
We need to also ratify the enforcement order, I'm sorry.
need to what?
Endorse the enforcement order.
No.
But
Oh,
we can
yeah.
do that separately if you want to do that. I think in this case, it makes sense to do it separately.
Don't you have some other things for us to sign tonight, too?
I do. They're in front of Stephanie.
I think I
Okay.
signed them.
Oh, okay.
I move to endorse the enforcement
Enforcement orders.
letter that was, the enforcement orders that were sent to One Manor Drive by our agent.
Second.
Any questions on that motion? Hearing none. Bill?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Fred?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing, we're done with those then.
I come back?
Yeah,
Please do.
yeah. Next thing on the agenda is the minutes for March 29th.
Move to accept the minutes as presented today.
Second?
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none then. Terry?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Fred?
Aye.
Thank you. Unanimous. All right, moving right along then. We'll turn it over to Annie for her update.
Alrighty. So, a couple things. I'm going to keep it very quick. Chesterton update on Earth Day. They will be at 3 locations next Friday. Meadow Pond doing trail maintenance work, so tree cutting, removing the chains that are no longer functioning, removing old signs from old trees, things of that nature. They will be at the entrance of 46 Washington Street, back in those conservation lands, like 150 Center Street. There's some old PVC piping left over from the mining days. There's some, lots of tires, so they're gonna be removing those, and then just cleaning up 46 Washington Street area in general. And then if they have enough people Lower Center Street, or if they finish at one of those locations, quickly, they'll move to Lower Center Street. The cross-country sewer project, the stream crossing will be complete tomorrow or Friday. That's going well. They did it very quickly, which is good. Least amount of days of disturbance, the better. Zero Savory Lane, also kind of known as 84 Main Street, that old house that's on the corner there. The house that we permitted behind the house, they will be beginning work the 16th. They'll be going right away. We did the pre-construction meeting today. They might have to come in for a minor modification. Would be kind of like what they were saying for Katy Lane, a retention wall, so that they keep grading outside of the buffer zone, or, tighten things up away from the resource area. The high school or regional school, they will be filing for an extension to their order of conditions. It is up August sometime. They're going to be filing for a year-long extension. They'll be done there in the fall, but, filing for a year makes sense. Couple things with that. Was anyone at the pre-construction meeting for that? Okay.
How does this work? I've never been to one.
I got the plans today, and I have an inquiry out to them as far as the jurisdictional monuments. They have us requesting 40. That simply cannot be the case. In our order of conditions, it says that it was discussed at the meeting and will be noted at the pre-construction meeting. The minutes don't say anything about location, and I don't have any notes from a pre-construction meeting. So I have an inquiry out to them to ask where they got that 40 number from.
Sounds like a lot.
I know, it's,
Sounds like
and
they're
at
getting
granite
granite.
markers, the price of them right now, they'd be asking for an override just for those markers from the school. Sorry, bad
Don't
joke.
even justify it.
Bad joke. Very bad joke. So keep that on your radar. The second question I have regarding this, do we want someone at the meeting for them filing the extension of the order of conditions? Or are we okay with me doing the presentation as I do for
It seems pretty straightforward.
yeah, I just wasn't sure because it is, we're wrapping it up.
Because they'll be charging for their time to come to the meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's keep that cost
So
down.
I will coordinate with them during their regular business hours, and get all the information that we need. And last but not least, 912 Salem Street, so it's a property behind Groveland Gas, Nichols. So directly, if you're looking at the gas station to the right, there's a home that's kind of set back. That's actually about 26 acres. So a developer filed an application with the Zoning Board of Appeals to put a 20,000 square foot like contractor's yard.
It's like a light manufacturing place.
Yeah, so it would be like, 5 bay windows, and each bay window has a little office associated with it for plumbers, electricians,
Where is this?
tradespeople. So right next to Groveland Gas and Nichols. There's a house there right now. It abuts the rail trail. It goes pretty far back. There's a lot of wetlands back
Oh.
there. There's a lot of turtle habitat. We've had a few TRCs with the applicant. They have pulled back their plans a lot. So the ZBA filing is simply for the use of the property as this contractor's light manufacturing. They are well aware they will have to file with conservation. But if you would like to take a look at the plans or have any comments as far as the use only, because again, they will have to file for conservation, so you will see these plans. As far as what they have conceptually right now, I believe I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm fairly certain they keep absolutely everything out of the 50-foot. Everything is outside of the 50-foot buffer zone. What is within the 100 to 50 is stormwater infrastructure and a little bit of parking. So there's no buildings that are going within the buffer zone. Again, if you want to see these plans, shoot me an email and I'll shoot the application package off to you and you can take a look at them.
And that property is zoned for business?
That's what
Yes,
ZBA is
it's
looking at.
industrially zoned, so it's a funny, so the whole thing is 26 acres, but it's not just split zoned, it's 3 zones. It's residential 1, residential 2, and industrial. So where they're putting this use is within the industrial zone.
This is, I don't think it's up to you. I mean, we can say this, but it doesn't, I don't think it really affects anything. Personally, I think that this is a far better use of that property for our tax situation in town than building houses there.
Well, I still want to be, if it's turtle habitat, I mean,
So they've already gone to Natural Heritage
Yeah,
and
they've-
started the
they've
conversation
already
with
been
them.
through it. You should have seen what they were proposing before. It was terrible. They wanted to put how many houses they wanted to put in there?
I don't remember, but it involved a wetland crossing, significant turtle
Ridiculous.
restoration. The plan, again, the plans that they gave for the zoning board are just conceptual because it's just the zoning board and it's just use. Because basically where they're putting the new building is essentially over where the existing house is, that's not considered habitat. It's not mapped as habitat because that's where an existing house is, and Natural Heritage doesn't map habitat over existing houses because, you wouldn't be able to do anything in your house, to your house if it
no,
was
but
mapped
like
as habitat.
surrounding that house, I don't know what.
No, and it is habitat, but they're keeping it as pulled away as possible. So they're well aware. They've been having many conversations with Natural Heritage.
Throwing turtles right
Well,
out.
we'll have a shot at it
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
But again, that's,
I'm
Not
just saying from
jurisdictional.
a use point of view.
Yes.
I would much rather see a commercial building there.
Yeah,
Than
than houses.
residential.
And
The
because
impact of
of,
a bunch of residences would be far greater.
Yes.
It sounds
yeah,
like.
so where it is, so like I said, it's like triple zoned. Where the frontage is the industrial zone, so they aren't allowed to put houses there. If they wanted to, they can't.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna be upgrading their access.
So they do know that there is a signal going in there, and they're gonna, I would be shocked if the planning board did not ask them to do a traffic study.
Okay.
Again, it's, they still, the reason they go to zoning board first is because if the zoning board shoots them down for use, there's no point in, and like I said, these are conceptual plans, they're not engineered, because there's no point in putting money in to engineered plans until the zoning board just okays that they can even do
Right.
this use on the site.
Noted.
Where's the
So-
signal going?
At the intersection of Salem and School.
Oh, okay. It's a little further down.
Not by more than 400 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close.
We'll see what the state does about that.
We own the road.
Yeah, but it's a state.
It's a state highway, yeah, so they'd have to, I don't know if they, I don't, again, I don't, they haven't engineered the plans fully, but I don't know if it'll require a new curb cut, because there is an existing one.
Is School Street a state highway?
It's a state
They
route,
state,
but it is
route.
owned by the town.
right, right. It's
So-
that, Main Street is a state highway.
113.
Main Street is
But
owned,
School Street is not.
Route 97,
yes.
Highway
We
113.
don't touch
There's a-
Main
there-
Street.
There are distinctions in, it gets messy.
Okay.
It does,
You think our stuff is messy. It gets messy.
trust me,
Um,
it sure does.
But it's, yeah, it's a
Okay.
state numbered,
Road.
So you have the plans, or the conceptual plans, we can look at them if we want, but it is all gonna come
Absolutely,
to us.
yeah.
Okay.
And I did send them off to Mike as the chairperson.
Does
so-
somebody live there now?
I don't know.
Just, if somebody were to take a drive.
I think so.
I mean, the owner of the property signed off on the ZBA application, so whoever owns the property, I don't know if it's like a life estate or something like that, but it was signed off on by the owner of the property, but they don't have to live there, they could live in Florida, so I have no idea.
I was just wondering about taking a peek.
What's that address?
912 Salem Street.
Okay.
It's, I think, the house is a bit run down.
Oh, yeah. I've been trying to sell that for years.
Yes, yeah,
And what's the new business called?
it doesn't,
No,
it's,
I
It's-
mean, what's it gonna be?
so, if you look up under our zoning bylaws, like a contractor yard, or like Mike said, light industrial, I think they're leaning more towards, Sam, the building inspector, made the distinction and
Okay.
agrees with the filing of a contractor yard.
Okay.
Next, is it the
That
ice cream
goes into-
place or the Valley Tree? Where's,
I think it's like Mellow is the next thing on
Oh.
School Street.
On the other side,
On Salem Street, then they just put in, well, like it says further down.
that's further down.
Yeah, but that's sort of that parcel
Yeah. Okay.
that's under consideration.
Okay.
And it makes sense, and it'd be good to have a more diverse tax base in this town, and
Yes, but I don't wanna do it at the expense of our,
of course not, and
Wildlife.
we will have that opportunity.
okay.
yes. This is just for use. And
But-
they'll most likely file concurrent planning and,
And
conservation.
quite frankly, it's a lot easier to control
One-
commercial properties usually than a whole bunch of residences.
We'll see.
But remember, we went all through this with Daniels and Baldini's lot on Salem Street, a little further down.
Yeah.
I wasn't here for
Where
that one.
I tried to say that under our bylaw, we could talk about habitat management, and they had our friendly lawyer in here shoot me down.
I don't remember that, but
Oh.
I'm sure it happened.
Yes.
Sure it
Who was the
happened.
attorney?
Wasn't that long ago, Terry.
Okay.
You know that lawyer that worked for the other guy on Salem Street? One of our favorite lawyers.
Yes,
Yours
I know
anyways.
the lawyer to whom you're referring.
Yes, right.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Anything else, Annie?
No.
Okay.
What about the schools?
Oh,
Come
right,
on.
I'm sorry. Bill and I will be out at Town Forest, Meadow Pond, I don't remember.
Yeah, you had a
with
couple
the-
of places.
With the fourth graders. We're not doing the same days. I think I'm doing May 25th. You're doing May 12th, maybe?
Yep.
They have an ecologist they've hired who will be out there.
A what?
Ecologist,
Oh.
I believe.
How come they're not asking us to pay for that? No,
Because
we
they
have a-
received a grant.
Yeah.
Oh, all
for
right,
it.
because we got a CPA grant for them to pay for exactly this stuff.
I believe they have a state grant. That's at least
Even
how they
better.
explained it to us before.
Even better.
No, I don't care, but it's
Yeah.
just, you know,
So they'll be doing obviously like research into flora and fauna, probably some trail work as well. We need to coordinate, you know, a little
Yeah.
something,
So-
but
so we do have money to do something that you were just talking about before.
No? No? Okay.
Now,
Now we do.
Does it have to be spent this fiscal year?
no,
Okay.
but
But just in the works?
something like, you know, little
The
compasses.
The compass, I think that was
Right?
the
Annie's
little,
idea. I
yeah,
think
with the
that's,
little, like the little clip-on
Great
compasses.
idea. Well, it's a
Yeah.
Groveland Conservation.
well, that's what we
Commission.
said, we should
Hopefully.
get swag.
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yes, if we can use CPC funds
Yes.
for that, for education. Okay.
Yes.
Of course, the compasses
Yeah.
may have a direct.
I don't think
Alright.
we'll get them in time, but
Women.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this,
see,
but moving forward.
see if
It's
you
above
can. All right, that's good. That's
Can
good.
I get back to the sewer hookup for a minute?
Of
Sewer
course.
hookup.
Please do.
So, obviously, there's a huge sewer line going in now.
Oh,
And there's a
okay.
lot of abutters who are actually already contacting the Water and Sewer Department because they want to start hooking up. And based on our experience with that hookup that was taking place across from the middle school, it might be useful to get from Colin Stokes, if you don't have it already, a list of the, and you probably don't because there's a lot of stuff out of our jurisdiction, but a list of residences that the new sewer line goes by where they put in stubs to see if any of them are in our jurisdiction. Now, usually the hookup is going into the street, which is usually not the side of the wetlands, right? But that's not always the case. In my house, the septic system, when we hooked up to the sewer, the septic discharged to the back of the house, and they had to put in a U to head out to the street, and it was probably, well, it was very close to being in the 100-foot buffer from that little stream that goes through the wetlands behind my house. So there may be some cases where excavation would be taking place within the buffer zone, and they don't typically get run by,
They never do.
well, okay, typically I'm,
Being generous,
we,
sorry.
we might want to get a list of
Proactive.
potential abutters, just to see if we want to do anything. Obviously, we can't tell them that they can't hook up, but we could specify erosion control and stuff like that. That's just my suggestion.
They're exempt from filings because it's a utility.
But it's private contractors that are going to be doing the hookup.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure.
And I don't think that if we didn't make people, do a notice of intent for a sewer hookup, and maybe even waive charges if they were willing to, do the erosion control. Because erosion control is going to be pretty much the only thing we're going to say.
Right.
That and don't store your backhoe in the
Right.
wetlands overnight. Those would be the only things where it'd be nice to have some control, even if there wasn't any revenue coming from it.
We
Yep.
could probably just make up a.
A template.
A template of order of conditions and just say,
Yeah.
we need you to
But the
follow
first, the
these.
first step is to determine whether, how many of these properties are within the jurisdictional area. And the time to do it is before it happens, not after it happens.
Yes.
Is that unreasonable?
No, that's
Good
reasonable.
idea.
And
Annie,
Annie's not doing anything else, right?
Annie can do that in her spare time.
Maybe while you're flying,
Yeah, she doesn't need her vacation.
while you're on vacation, you can be, researching.
I'll be finalizing the minutes while I'm, so.
Don't we have Danielle?
I have her doing other things.
Oh, other things.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I like doing the minutes myself to make sure that I'm not missing anything moving forward throughout the week. She actually, something I forgot, we're reformatting the application page because needs a facelift. So she's helping me work on that. Well, she's working on that. There are a couple things I want her to adjust before I show it to you guys. I mean, nothing's changing in it as far as, nothing that needs to go to like a public hearing or anything. We're not changing fees or anything like that, but, just updates, housekeeping type stuff. And then she's still working on the filing system. She helps me with planning board stuff too, there's always something.
Sounds good.
Okay. So another item I have is land donations. So on Monday night, the selectmen approved us accepting a donation of lot 53-003A, I believe. Hold on a sec.
Does that then have to go to the state?
No. So we're good to go on that one, and that's the one that's on Johnson's Pond next to VZ Park. So it'll become part of VZ Park eventually under the conservation restriction. So I was gonna contact John Gabauer about doing the legal work on it so that it doesn't end, hopefully he can do what he's done before, so it doesn't end up costing anybody any money to do the filings and stuff. So hopefully you can get that done.
Do we pay him now?
No, he
Pro bono?
does the paperwork. I think we gotta pay for the filing.
Right.
But
he's,
But we're not paying for his time.
No, right,
okay.
right. The other one is the 6-acre parcel that Mr. Harper wants to donate. So since last week, I have heard twice from different people that the electric department would like to take that whole 6 acres. And what they plan on doing is some type of demonstration place on the other 3 acres that are closer to the creek, for like rain gardens and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yes. So.
How close to the creek?
Well, we still are gonna have jurisdiction on the 200 feet. So anything they're gonna do there, they're gonna have to come back to us and say, can we do it? They'll have to file a permit depending upon
I
what
mean,
it
I like
is.
the idea of having demonstration rain gardens.
Yeah,
I can't argue with that.
yeah, right. Well, the other thing is, I think they probably would be willing to do what we had talked about of, some picnic tables or something there that abut where the trails go.
Yeah, like a little mini park.
And, any time that I don't have to stand up there and beg the selectmen to let us accept a donation and get abuse by unnamed select people, believe me, I like that.
Much of this is on the record.
So, no, actually, this past time was pretty easy.
No, it was pretty quick.
So, yeah, that's a joke. But anyway, So I recommend that we let the electric department take this one.
Well, okay.
But, anybody say anything else, because that's only me.
Well, as long as we have our say on how the jurisdictional areas are used, then, it's almost as if we have it.
Right.
So,
I mean,
I have no objection,
I guess I still want to see that
as long
area
as long as.
restored to,
Well, that's a different issue. We'll talk about
And that could be
in a
part of
second.
the, whatever they come to us and say we want to do,
okay.
then we'll say, yeah, but.
Well,
I have already had a conversation with Kevin Snow about this. He will not touch that piece of land until Eric Harper has sorted out the violation. So
Okay, good.
that is, Kevin Snow doesn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole,
And
obviously.
Eric wants to sort it out because he wants to donate it and
And
move
yes,
on.
so
So,
don't have to worry about that because Eric can't get rid of it until it's sorted out.
and we can
so we got,
specify what we want done
Yes.
to it prior.
so the timeline would be, we tell him what he's gonna do, he does it, then he offers it to the town, the electric department takes it, they get approval from the selectmen like we would, and they can pay for all the legal
So-
stuff and everything else.
Understanding that it's obviously going to be a change of ownership, and we don't have specific plans for it, is there a way for kind of filling out and finishing up the violation? Can we
Yes.
get like an escrow kind of thing? And so that, you
No,
know-
I think if we tell him to do something, he's gonna do it as soon
I
as.
know he will.
Yeah.
I don't, but do we know that, if we say, oh, we want you to plant trees now.
Yeah,
And then we come up with a plan later and say, oh, we should move those trees, cut them down. Because I don't know, if we're talking rail trail abutting and picnic tables and things like that, I don't know that we want them right next to the rail trail.
Well, I mean, that whole area is practically paved right there anyway, where it's not really plantable.
So, one of the benefits of having the light department potentially own this is that they are gonna make sure that there are no trees that are too close to the wires, because that is their whole thing. So I would,
So, again,
Sort of a counter.
So I'm saying, is the remedy for the violation a fine that we put aside?
we can't do that,
Can't be a fine.
no.
because we don't get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we come up with a replanting plan and a removal of, some of that asphalt or something, or whatever was pushed in there, those piles of things, cleaned up a little bit. Whether it happened before he was there or after he was there, it looked pretty fresh in a lot of respects. And he's been there, 5, 6 years now, right?
Oh.
I think it was 2014.
Yep.
Sucks getting old. Anyway, he's been there a
Okay,
chunk
well,
of time.
I guess.
And a lot of that stuff, those piles of rubble were a lot fresher than 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I think we want to remediate that to a certain extent. We want to plant trees to a certain point, and we want to, I still love the idea of blueberry plants there. I think that's a nice,
In a natural way, I guess, I don't want room.
what do you mean in a natural way?
Well, like,
You want it
I don't mind
aesthetically
leaving a
pleasing?
space if you want to put like a couple of picnic benches there, and if you want to put shrubs in and they are blueberry bushes, I guess, I just don't want it to be like,
Don't you want rows where you could cut down the nasty strangler vines and the Norway maples and the other invasive
I want it to look
species?
natural so that the heron that we scared up
Well, that was in the
feels
water.
comfortable
That was
being
in the
there.
water. He's not gonna be picking blueberries. He's a fish bird. But that's something we should actually make an effort to get done pretty quickly, I would
Yes.
think.
Yes.
It'd probably be nice to have it done by next meeting even.
You mean the plan?
A preliminary plan at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
No, because now is the time to do it.
Yes.
Right,
You
right,
know.
right, right.
And I think that he wants to
Yeah.
get
Oh,
out
yeah.
of it.
No, I
He
understand.
wants to put this behind
Yes.
him, he wants to donate it, he wants to move on.
Yes.
And so do we all.
All right. All right, so we're in agreement there. So who wants to be in charge of putting a plan together?
Well, Stephanie does, and, but I'd be glad to help. Well, she wants to stagger
Yeah.
the blueberry bushes. I think it would be easier to maintain them if
Where it
if you could, because otherwise they're just gonna get completely engulfed by crap,
Yeah.
by,
Well-
locust trees and,
Well, the other
locusts are
thing
okay,
is,
but-
you know, whenever you disturb a parcel like that, you're gonna get the invasives. Pretty soon there'll be, you know, the thorny, whatever that's.
Right, the black
So,
locust
do you want me
move
to
in.
include
Oh,
a
the-
plan for picnic benches?
No,
Also,
no,
like, is this,
no.
or just a plan
Just-
for the replanting?
For the replant, for
Why do I
him,
have to do this and not Mr.
No,
Harper?
Terry's gonna do it with you. We're gonna tell him what we want. Harper's gonna do it, but we gotta tell him what we want.
Okay,
and we
So-
probably need a map of the
Yeah.
disturbed, it's only the disturbed area that we're
How do I
talking
get a
about.
map of the disturbed area? Can you do that on the,
My map
Yeah.
will give you an aerial,
okay,
and I think it was in one of your meeting packets. He provided a,
okay. All right,
But
so
Terry-
go back to that meeting
Terry-
packet? Okay.
Terry's gonna work with you.
Absolutely,
So you, probably the both of you could go out there.
but you're gonna be the boss.
I was thinking I would ask Diane if she had any thoughts.
Yeah, but I mean, we've gotta come up with how
Think of
many
it as
trees, what kind
I
of.
know,
Thesis,
but I was thinking I would ask
antithesis,
Diane for her thoughts.
synthesis.
She's just gonna, you know what she's gonna say?
What?
She's gonna say native.
Native
I know, that's what I
plants
want,
and-
of course.
No,
Well,
but I mean,
okay, so-
We've got lists of native plants
I-
and native trees.
If we
That's easy.
put in a
Can I
bunch
get the
of,
list from you? Okay.
we put in a bunch of white pines, the white pines are probably the best trees there. And,
Okay, we can talk about this offline.
all right, we'll meet in Annie's office next week, what time?
I don't know, I gotta look at my work schedule.
Mine is pretty open aside from Wednesday.
Okay.
you're welcome to meet in my office. I just might not be there. I have
Even
I have
better.
a busy,
Even better, we can talk about you.
there you go. I have
I
a,
don't know if I have the key anymore.
It's open.
No,
Rebecca let
We
us
don't
in.
have keys.
yes.
Rebecca let us
Yeah,
in.
we don't-
I don't know.
Now it's a different key.
Oh, it's a different key, now I have a key to
Rennie's office.
Rennie's
From
office,
your
great.
Yeah.
If I made a motion to adjourn, would there be any objections?
Let me just make sure there's nothing else. So our next meeting, May 10th, so try to get that done, at least in draft form for us, hopefully on paper by next time. And, let's see, I don't think there's anything else. Nothing, something. Oh, just one other thing. So I am working on the turtle habitat remediation area over on the 8-acre parcel at 150 Center Street. It's being paid for with community preservation funds, so it doesn't impact us, but it's under our purview. So everything's proceeding on that. We've got a wetland scientist, we've got a landscaper, and Bill Daly is doing the construction. And part of what I did was fold in the replanting of the construction easement for the cross-country sewer that goes through the original conservation restricted area between the stream and where the 8-acre parcel starts. So at our next meeting in May, I'll give a more detailed explanation of it, what, hopefully by then, what was done. But I just wanted you to know what's going on there. And that's it.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Terry,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
yes, Fred, thank you.
Bye, Fred.
Good night.